Hey, welcome to Cooking with Marijuana. It's Matt, your host. Today's recipe is coconut macaroons, and those are going to be topped with marijuana chocolate. Okay, let's get started. Here's what you're going to need. 1 1/3 cups of flaked coconut, 1/3 cup of sugar, 2 tablespoons of flour, a pinch of salt, 2 eggs or egg whites, vanilla extract, some Cannabutter, about 2 tablespoons, and some chocolate chips or baking chocolate, and optionally some chopped nuts. Now this recipe is really easy. The first step is to preheat your oven to 325 degrees and grease a large cookie sheet. Now we're going to combine our 1 1/3 cup coconut with 1/3 cup of sugar. We're going to add in 2 tablespoons of flour, 2 tablespoons there, and then just a pinch of salt. Once you have those in your bowl, you can just use your hands and combine that and mix those well together. I like to take this opportunity to break up any large clumps of coconut and kind of smooth the whole texture out, as well as combine and mix this good. Okay, now we're going to set that aside and move on to the egg whites. For this step, we're going to need 2 egg whites. So if you don't know how to take the egg whites out of an egg, here's how you do it. Crack the egg in half, and then open it with the egg falling in one side, and then drop that back and forth, the yolk, pass the yolk back and forth between the 2 shells, and let the white fall off gradually as you toss it back and forth. And now we're going to add to this egg white mixture half a teaspoon of vanilla extract. Okay, and the next step is important if you want to make sure that the egg whites don't run out of the meringue while you're cooking. So we're going to now whip the egg whites. You can use a hand mixer on high speed, and you want to just kind of make them until they're shiny, mix them until they're shiny. So I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to use a whisk to do this, just to show you that it can be done without a hand mixer. And get that mixed up, and then I like to use this technique sometimes, like you're starting a fire, and spin the whisk between my hands like this. Okay, you'll notice after a few minutes that this will start to get kind of frothy and shiny, and that's what you're looking for. You're looking for kind of a glossy, shiny look to these egg whites. I'm just going to give it a little bit more, and then I'm going to combine it with my other mixture. I have heard people skipping this step here, but I also heard complaints that it'll run out around the macaroons while they're cooking. Okay, so there's our combination of the vanilla and egg whites, and now we're going to combine that with the coconut mixture. Now for this step, it's a pretty simple step. You're just going to combine the meringue or the egg whites and vanilla into the coconut. I like to use 2 wooden spoons and just kind of give it a nice tossing around like this. Just because I think it helps keep it kind of light and fluffier and not as dense when it comes to actually making the macaroons. So you just want to toss this together and mix these until it's one nice mixture. Get that's combined well, and this is our batter for our macaroons. Alright, now the fun's really getting started. We've got our scoop here. I'm using a 1 tablespoon measuring spoon. I'm just going to measure out 1 tablespoon scoops of this. This is going to yield you about a dozen, maybe a baker's dozen macaroons. Now you might be saying, well, where's the marijuana at? Well, don't worry, we're going to get to that. The marijuana will be coming up in the next step, which is going to be making the chocolate coating. Now it's time to put them in the oven. Okay, now our oven has preheated to 325 degrees. We're going to put these in for 15 to 18 minutes till they're nice and golden brown. You definitely don't want to burn the bottom, so be careful and make sure you keep an eye on them. Now let's make our marijuana chocolate sauce. Now to make our marijuana chocolate, we're going to need a double boiler. That's nothing really fancy. You can buy a double boiler, or you can just use a regular bowling pan and another bowl or a pan and top. And you're going to have water in this pan. Keep it below the bottom of this pan once you put it inside of it, and then you're going to bring that up to boiling. All right, now our double boiler is boiling, or the water inside is boiling. We want to keep that just so that it barely boils. You don't want it really rolling, boiling in there, just barely boiling. And to that, we're going to add about 2 tablespoons. That's 2 tablespoons of Cannabutter. We're going to let that melt. Now our Cannabutter has come up to temperature, and we're going to start adding the chocolate chips to it. So I think it's going to take about a cup, but I'm just going to start with about 1/4 of a cup. I'm just going to dump that in there and start melting that. Now what we're going to do is we're going to incorporate this chocolate into this butter just by letting it melt and mix together. Now, like I said, I'm sure it's going to take more than what I've started with here, but I want to add it slowly so that I don't end up with a really clumpy, messy chocolate. I'm using milk chocolate. You could use dark chocolate, semi-sweet, unsweetened if you wanted. But I just happen to have milk chocolate in the cabinet, so that's what I'm using. Okay, so it's nice and glossy, shiny, but I'm still going to add some more chocolate because I want to have enough to dip our macaroons a couple of times. And this will be a good time while this melts to check on the macaroons and see how they're doing. So let's check on this. Okay, our macaroons cooked about 20 minutes, about 18 minutes. And they're nice and brown and they're ready to cool. We're going to let these cool for a few minutes. If they cool for a few minutes, we'll transfer them to our wire rack and let them cool completely before we dip them in chocolate. So these are going to cool now. Okay, our chocolate sauce has melted down completely. I've scraped down the sides and I have reduced the heat to the lowest setting just to keep it so that it's still a liquid. Now we're going to start dipping our macaroons. So to do that, you just take the cooled off macaroons, pull them from the bottom, and then just dip it right into there. And watch it that you don't dip it so far that you get your thumbs in there. Okay, and then set it aside and move on to the next one. Okay, and we're going to go through the whole dozen that we made, dipping each one of these. Okay, now we've dipped all our macaroons and oh, we've got chocolate left. What do we do? No worry. Don't worry, because we're going to dip them again. And if you didn't want to dip them again, you could use this chocolate for something else. You could use it to dip strawberries in, apple slices. You could spread it on a piece of toast or something. You could spread it on your girlfriend or boyfriend. The possibilities are limitless. But what we're going to do is we're going to double dip our chocolate because I want these to be strong. So we're going to go through again and just dip them again. Right on top. It's a little messier this time because you might get a little chocolate on your fingers, but don't worry, it's worth it. So we're double dipping these. just as a little surprise, you can mix up the toppings. And say, for instance, if you had some almonds, you could stick an almond down in the top of each one. Maybe a cherry. Or I happen to have some chopped, I like ice cream nut topping. And I will show you how you can dress these up a little bit with that. So you'll see I have here just some standard ice cream nut topping. I think you get the idea there of what you can do with these macaroons. Once you have all the macaroons dipped and coated, you can set them aside and let them cool. It's probably going to take a couple of hours for the chocolate to cool fully. Okay, thanks for watching Cooking with Marijuana. This is Matt signing off. This recipe has been coconut macaroons with marijuana chocolate sauce. If you like this recipe, please hit the like button, leave a comment, let me know what you'd like to see. Subscribe to Rough House Studios. Thanks for watching. Have a great day.